Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Fortune Tellers Wrestling Show. Our weekly review of Raw and Smackdown is on right now, live on YouTube. I'm your host, Teebs, otherwise known as Teeber Trenton on Twitter. And it's another solo review from me this week, as on our last episode, Eric did say, Juffles said that he was going to be going to Jersey to visit, so he sadly cannot make it to this episode, but never fear. I'm here to save the show, like always, and I always mess around when I say that. I make it seem like a bigger deal than it is when he misses a show. But sometimes I do really wonder, especially after this week. I really started to wonder, like, why do I do this show? At first, it was just a fun idea of I just me and Eric were like, maybe we can have our own show, just kind of laughing about it. And we are like, you know what? Screw it. Let's just have our own show. And we just do it for fun. It's very amateur. I still can't get this XSplit broadcaster to go away. I don't know why. I don't even use that, to my knowledge. I don't think I use that to do this show. But yes, I've recently been thinking. I'm no one. I don't have many subscribers. We have 3 subscribers on this channel. We started doing it on. Not very many views for each episode, but it's actually just kind of a way to really vent my feelings about wrestling, as I don't really have any other way of doing that other than my tweets, of course, but tweets can only go so far when you're venting about wrestling, and tweets kind of just get lost in everything. And after this week watching Raw and Smackdown, I got unnecessarily annoyed with the shows, and I'll explain why when I get down to it. But first of all, I want to say a big rest in peace to 2 people who were involved in wrestling a lot, who died this past week. Lots of sad news, actually. Luke Perry passed away, and Luke Perry made some appearances on WCW and WWE in the late 90s and 2000s, I believe. And his son is a wrestler. He's Jungle Boy. He's currently signed with AEW. And so a big rest in peace to him, and another big rest in peace to King Kong Bundy, who died at 61. And actually, I don't think I read how he died. Nobody ever said that in the announcements that I read. So King Kong Bundy, of course, was a famous wrestler, and he had that famous cage match with Hulk Hogan. And just it's always sad when somebody dies. And it feels like there's been a lot more deaths lately in wrestling. I don't know if that's just me, but it feels like it. I don't know why. It just feels like it. But just wanted to start off by saying that, and I would feel bad if I forgot about them, because I forget things if I don't start out with them. So I just wanted to start out with that, so I would acknowledge them. And I guess we'll just get right into Raw right now. And Raw started out, and Raw started with Roman Reigns coming out, and it's still and this show was in Philly, by the way. So Roman Reigns came out, and he got a majority of people cheered him. But I did hear some boos in there. I heard some people booing Roman Reigns in Philly. It was not all cheers, and I don't know what to think about that. I still think people are obviously happy and love that Roman's back, but I think some people still aren't over the fact that he's probably just going to get pushed like straight to the top after WrestleMania season. I could be wrong, but I've been wrong about many things, and when it comes to wrestling, you're never truly what's the word I'm looking for? When it comes to wrestling, you're never truly set on an opinion, because things happen so fast and things change so much. So yeah, Roman came out. He got cheered for the most part, and he got it's funny how they call Philly the city of brotherly love, though, because Philly is really historically really not. Philly will turn on a show like in the snap of a finger, and last week I last week I praised Raw for being good, for being really good actually, I thought. And this week I didn't think so. I thought this Raw was kind of lame. I didn't like this Raw that much, and I'll explain why. There's a couple of reasons. So Roman comes out and he he pretty much says, he implies that he wants another crack at the Universal Championship because he never lost it. He had to vacate it, of course. And there's one man standing in his way, Seth Rollins. And I thought he was going to say Brock Lesnar, but he said Seth Rollins because Seth, as of course, is the number one contender for the Universal Championship at WrestleMania, and against Brock Lesnar. So Roman Reigns calls Seth Rollins out. Seth Rollins' music just hits like instantly, as if he was just expecting Roman to call him out. That's just a nitpick. It's just funny. But Seth gets in the ring. He comes out, of course. Seth gets in the ring, and he says that what you did last week and your comeback is one of the greatest moments of my own life and career. And he just puts him over, of course, because they're really good friends, of course. And he tells Roman that I'm going to bring the Universal Championship back home to Raw every single week. And Seth says, I think I know what you're going to say, though, Roman. I know what you want. I know what it's like to vacate a title and never lose it. And if anybody out there deserves the shot at Brock as much as I do, it's Roman. So, yeah, he goes along these lines, and Roman says, no, that's not what I was going to say at all, actually. While I was gone, you carried this show, and I just want to tell you, good luck, man. So he tells Seth good luck for his match at Mania. And I was really expecting him to say, I honestly, I was half expecting some stuff to happen where Roman's inserted into the match at Mania, so it's like a triple threat. But that did not happen. Of course, that did not happen. I expected at this point, really. I I don't know what else to think, because just the show is so all over the place, and I actually I was under the belief that Seth is just gonna beat Brock at WrestleMania. Like, it's finally he's gonna beat Brock at WrestleMania. I thought 100% Seth does, and now that Roman's back, I seriously don't know who wins at WrestleMania. I could very easily see them having Seth lose at Mania to Brock, and then Roman goes after the title again. So I don't know. I don't think that's a good idea. I think that's an easy way to have the crowd turn on Roman again, regardless if he came back from cancer or not. At the end of the day, the reason people didn't like Roman was because he was overpushed. And when I say overpushed, I mean I don't even want to necessarily say overpushed, but like he was pushed in a way that obviously the fans were not behind it for like 4 years, for 3 or 4 years. And if Roman is just thrown back into the main title mix like instantly after his return, and I don't know what he's going to do at Mania, but if he's just thrown into the title picture right after he returns, I could very easily see people turning on that, and Roman's just going to get booed again. So they have to be very careful with Roman. They have a huge baby face right now in Roman Reigns. They finally got him cheered, so they have to be extremely careful with what they do with Roman. So really what Roman wanted to talk about with Seth is he wants a Shield reunion. Again, he wants to get the band back together one last time. Just one more time. If I don't know, he goes, I don't know how long I got left anymore. When I was gone, I had a lot of reflecting time, and tomorrow, you never know if tomorrow might be your last day, and I just want to have one more Shield reunion, just one last time together with everybody. And Seth Rollins said, I'm sorry, I can't do that. I don't forgive Dean Ambrose at all. I don't forgive him. After all he did, no way, man. And which is understandable from Seth. And he got booed before he got booed because of that, but it's understandable. But Seth gives it some time. He thinks about it a little bit, and he goes, you know what? You're right, Roman. Life's not guaranteed, and if you want, just for you, Roman, if you want the shield, I'll do everything I can to get the shield back. So they call out Ambrose, of course, and Ambrose just comes out quickly, like he was waiting there, and Gorilla just waiting there for his music to hit. So Dean comes out with a microphone. He's pondering. He's just standing there, and then all of a sudden, Elias comes out and whacks him over the freaking back with a guitar. So continuity, actually, huh? They're not just dropping this whole thing. So Elias comes out, he hits him with the guitar, and he runs away. And Roman and Seth come down, and Ambrose is on the ground, hurt and disheveled, and he's kind of complaining, like, oh, like he's kind of annoyed that he came out and just got destroyed. So that was the end of the first segment, and after that it goes backstage, and backstage are Drew McIntyre, Baron Corbin, and Bobby Lashley, and Lio Rush. And my favorite stable. I just love this freaking stable so much. It's not like I can't even get into I can't even complain about it again, or else I'm just gonna get long-winded rant about how McIntyre shouldn't be aligning himself with Corbin and Lashley. But I've been over this a billion times. I hope after Fastlane the stable dies forever. So McIntyre says, I broke the shield months ago, and it makes me sick that they're all living in the past again. And Corbin says that everyone's ignoring the real story because we all have a trios match tonight, and against Kurt Angle, Braun Strowman, and Finn Balor again. Holy shit, we get to see this match again. We've seen this match about 3 times, I think, in the past 3. Not even. It's probably been more than 3 times, to be honest. Yeah, they're just talking about how freaking Kurt Angle is washed up and he can't hang anymore with the top dogs, and just your basic ass. What else can they possibly say? We've seen this match like 4 times now. It's a 6-man tag between Baron Corbin, Bobby Lashley, and Drew McIntyre versus Strowman, Balor, and Kurt Angle. Like, what more can you do with this match? I'm starting to think this is Riot Squad versus Sasha Bailey and insert partner here. You know what I mean? So, I'm just boring myself to sleep thinking about this match again and talking about it. And I've noticed doing this show that when I listen back to myself on this show, I kind of just drag on, and my voice is not very my voice does not do a good job keeping people listening, especially since these shows are really long too. But I do this for fun, I don't really care if I'm not really in a position where I'm not in a position where I'm doing this as my job or anything. If that were the case, I'd be screwed. But watching matches like this, I seriously wonder why I even do this. And not to mention, that is the match up next, by the way, the 6-man tag. And I have to bring up, somebody on Reddit made a post about Braun Strowman and his last 10 televised matches since November 19th of 2018. So Braun Strowman has had 10 televised matches since November 19th, 2018. Baron Corbin has been in 8 of them. 8 out of 10. Like, what? Come on, man. Like, in fact, we saw this exact same 6-man tag February 11th, 2019. So not even a full month ago, we've seen this match before. And if I recall, wasn't that the one that like never ended too? Or was that there was a 6-man tag somewhere where it was never ending. It legitimately went on about 45 minutes. And I don't know if it was that one from February. It doesn't matter. Every time these people wrestle together, it feels like it's gone on for 45 minutes. I honestly think it's just filler at this point, So, I don't give a shit about this match. I'm not going to go through it in depth. I think we've all seen this match enough. The finish of the match was everybody's outside the ring, and it's going crazy. So Braun is about to do his big run around the ring and charge into one of his opponents, and he's about to charge into Bobby Lashley, I believe. And Bobby Lashley moves out of the way, and Lio Rush is now the one to be charged. And poor Lio Rush, he slams him through the barricade and just destroys poor Lio Rush. And that, of course, leaves Braun Strowman out of the mix. So Drew McIntyre and Bobby Lashley capitalize, and they go into the ring, and they hit Lashley hits a big spear onto Finn Balor. And those are the winners. Lashley, Corbin, and McIntyre are your winners of this match we've seen a billion times. And it just kept going too. They did the same beatdown that they've done so many times. The beatdown angle, threw him into the barricade, threw him headfirst into the steel steps that were being propped up on the ring apron. They went back into the ring. They double slammed him through the freaking steel steps like a tree slam. They double slammed him into that. And I'm just so over this same exact beatdown every single time. So of course, those three stand tall. Who gives a shit? That's gonna happen again and again and again. So yeah, after the match, they go backstage and Heavy Machinery is interviewed, and they show a video backstage from earlier in the day that of all the other tag teams making fun of. Well, I can't say all the other tag teams. I can say all the heel tag teams. The Ascension were leading this big meeting of sorts of all the jobber tag teams. The Ascension were there. Kurt Hawkins and Zack Ryder were there. I'm pretty sure Lucha House Party were there. This is so bad too. This was such a bad freaking segment. Ascension were just Ascension picked on Otis Dozovich. Poor Otis. They called him a giant thumb. And Zack Ryder called Otis. He's like Chris Farley in an SNL skit gone bad, but he's the real deal. He's no joke. He's a beast. So at least Zack and Kurt are like putting him over. Like he made fun of him, but he still put him over. But it cuts back to Otis and Tucker just standing there watching this segment, and Tucker goes, Otis has a tendency to hurt those who hurt his feelings. So we're supposed to believe that Otis had his feelings hurt due to this. But wow, he's not got some thick skin for being in the wrestling business. Oh, this fucking show, man. So Natalya makes her entrance, and the commentary announces Natalya versus Ruby Riott. And after the commercial break, and damn, we've seen that match a billion times too. But at least that's actually like a half decent match. Those two are good wrestlers, so whatever. Raw is rematches, I suppose. For opening two matches were both rematches we've seen a billion times. So before they go to break, they hype up Triple H and talking about Batista and what his actions from last week. So comes back from break, and it's Natalya versus Ruby Riott. Again, much like the 6-man tag, we've seen this match a billion times. And what more can you say about it? Natalya won by rolling up Ruby Riott. Well, not rolling her up. She put her in a small package. That's what happened. So the Riott Squad try to go after Natalya, but she exits the ring pretty quickly. She's on the ramp, and then all of a sudden you hear Lacey Evans' theme music again, and she's doing this stuff where she's just walking down the ring. She graces us with her presence, and she walks back out. I mean, again, much like everything else on this show, I could beat a dead horse and complain about it like I have for the past 4 weeks, but poor Lacey Evans, she's dead on the main roster. She's officially dead on the main roster. She's never going to wrestle. I don't know what the point is. So, yeah, congratulations, WWE, on botching another call-up who actually had talent. She leaves. And after that, they show a recap of Ric Flair's birthday celebration and how he got destroyed by Batista. Well, we didn't actually see what happened to him. We're just supposed to believe that Batista went into his room and destroyed him. So for all we know, he could have just, pat him on the back and dragged him out. So, here's the introduction of one of the worst things on the show. Well, I can't say the worst thing on the show, but one of the worst things on the show. Stephanie McMahon is backstage, and up come these two goofs, and they're from SNL. They're the hosts of the Weekend Update on SNL, Saturday Night Live. Michael and Colin. Michael Shea and Colin Jost were their names. And one of them was a wrestling fan who actually knew about wrestling, and the other one was just totally playing the dumb heel that tried to disrespect the crowd. He wore a New York. They were in Philly. He wore a New York something hat. I don't know anything about baseball or whatever, but he wore a New York whatever team is in New York hat. So they're talking about how, oh yeah, I love wrestling and I'm excited. They're excited to be here. And Stephanie announces they're going to be the guest host correspondents for WrestleMania. I don't care at all. So after that, and I'll get to more ranting about this whole shenanigans later, but Triple H's music comes out. It shows on the screen. A promo from Batista on his phone. I guess it was on Instagram. I didn't see this until here, but Batista, they hyped up Batista to be on the show. But Batista on this Instagram video promo revealed that I'm not going to be in Philly. And I don't want to be in Philly. Philly sucks. And this game is going to be played by my rules. And he goes, you get it? The game? This game is over. So, of course, this was... I love Batista in general, so I just like seeing him after... I don't know, it's a shame they really botched his return in 2014, bringing him up as a freaking babyface and then having him win the Rumble. And I still don't think Batista deserved all those boos that he got. They call him Boo-tista. They called him Blue-tista because of that all-blue gear he wore at that one pay-per-view. So it's cool seeing Batista, and he's actually serious. Now he's a heel, which makes sense. So Triple H comes out, and he cuts this very, very serious promo about one of his best friends, Ric Flair. And this segment, they broke kayfabe. I know we've actually seen that a lot on this goes into a bigger topic I want to talk about when it gets to the Ronda segments and stuff. But over the years in wrestling, they have, well, I should just go through it first before I go on my tangent. So Triple H goes, last week we came out to celebrate one of the biggest legends in the history of this industry on his 70th birthday. But I'm not upset because Ric Flair got destroyed by Batista. I'm upset because of Richard Fleer, which is, nobody knows, Ric Flair's real name is Richard Fleer, spelled F-L-I-E-H-R. So that's his real name. So they're pushing the envelope here, I guess, with breaking kayfabe now, but my point is, they've said people's real names many times on wrestling, and it really wasn't that big a deal. I saw people getting annoyed at this, particularly about, breaking the fourth wall, pointing out people's real names. Like, nobody cared when CM Punk was feuding with Triple H, and CM Punk said, this isn't CM Punk talking to Triple H, this is Phil Brooks talking to Paul Levesque, and nobody really cared then. It was, serious when he said that, because it was real personal, and it's just a stage name. I can look past that. That doesn't really bother me, but he was talking about the human being behind Ric Flair and the years that Triple H and him spent driving up and down the road. He became one of my best friends. He was there in my best times and my worst times, and he started to okay, so he goes, we were at each other's weddings. And then Triple H goes, "Well, I mean, I was at a few of Ric Flair's weddings. It would be a huge ask to be at all of his weddings," which was kind of funny because he's been married like 19 times. But so that was a funny line. But then he chokes. But Triple H chokes up and talks about when he was there for Rick when they buried Reed Flair, which was Ric Flair, one of Ric Flair's sons that died. And I saw people talking about how they're exploiting the death of a whatever, the death of a person in a storyline to like further the storyline. I mean, yeah, kind of they are, but I don't know what I think about that. I definitely see where people are coming from, where they get uncomfortable about that. But at the same time, it's like, again, I can kind of look past that. Yeah, I mean, they are kind of. I don't know if I'd call it exploiting. Like exploiting would be for fucking cheap heat, like when Paige told Charlotte in their feud a few years ago that Reed Flair must not have had a lot of fight in him, huh? That's exploiting for heat, and that I don't know about. That's just ridiculous. This here, I think I can give this a pass because it's supposed to show sympathy towards Richard Fliehr and Triple H, and he said it goes along these lines. It says that Richard Fliehr is a man that a little over a year ago was in a hospital bed in Atlanta in a coma, and every time Triple H's phone rang, he was scared and dreading picking up because he was positive that every time he picked up, it would be the call that they said Ric Flair was dead. And um, so I wanted to bring out Ric Flair one last time as the Nature Boy because that's what he lived for, and it didn't happen because of that piece of. And then he stops. He was going to call Batista a piece of shit for ruining that moment. Triple H gets loud. He goes, "I don't really care where you want to go, what you want to do. I will come there. I will show up anywhere. You can show up to my house." So he says, "You want my attention? You've got it, Dave." And but only at this time he's yelling, and I'm not going to yell. So honestly, a really good promo from Triple H. I thought it was. I'm still intrigued by this whole. I know what people think about the old guys, quote unquote, taking up a spot on the card, and I understand. I was one of the people that freaking hated the fact that Undertaker and Shawn Michaels and Triple H and Kane were wrestling at Crown Jewel and Super Showdown for that matter. And but that wasn't really because of like an old guy thing. That was just because I think Undertaker should retire. I wasn't really mad that they were taking up a spot. I was just kind of mad that not mad. I wasn't mad at all. I was just disappointed that Undertaker really needs to hang up his boots. And I'm still intrigued by this storyline. Maybe it's just because I'm a fan of Batista, and um, yeah, I can see where people are coming from with the old guy talk, and I myself am still intrigued at this point. Who knows? They might botch it like some other storylines that we'll get to. And speaking of, they show a recap of last week when Ronda laid down the title to Stephanie because she was mad that Becky was not reinstated and put in the match in WrestleMania. So Ronda seemingly vacated the title. So Stephanie backstage is in an interview. And this segment. So let's just go through this. Stephanie points out that Charlotte on SmackDown last week announced that she was going to be at Raw to be handed the Raw Women's title, because she's a heel, of course. She just expects the title to be handed to her since Ronda laid it down. So Stephanie goes, "Charlotte might be a little bit presumptuous, but when Ronda Rousey laid that title down, it was disrespectful and even blasphemous, which is why WWE is going to do what's best for business and drop all charges against Becky Lynch. And as of this moment, her suspension is lifted." So I thought, why? What was the point of the suspension angle? What was the point? Like, this story is so needlessly convoluted and complicated. It's so unnecessary. So Stephanie continues, and she says after her suspension is lifted completely, she's still not 100% physically, so she's going to come to the arena tonight and sign a hold harmless agreement to say that WWE is not responsible if something happens when she wrestles Charlotte at Fastlane for the vacant Raw Women's Championship. So she just sets up Charlotte versus Becky for the Raw Women's title at Fastlane. 2 SmackDown superstars battling for the Raw Women's title. Oh, boy. Okay, so she's not cleared 100% physically, so that's why she needs to sign this hold harmless agreement to ensure that WWE is not held reliable for anything that might happen to Becky because she's injured. Why the fuck would you not have her sign the hold harmless agreement a month ago when you suspended her for not being cleared by the doctors? Like, what? What is this storyline? What has this turned into? The whole point, the whole crux of the story, at least after the Rumble or the before the Chamber, the whole crux of the story was Becky was suspended for refusing medical treatment from the WWE doctors. So they suspended her for that. Why didn't they just make her sign a hold harmless agreement like they are right now? What was the point of suspending her? What is the storyline? This is so dumb. This is the most, and it gets worse too. It gets worse later on. So 2 SmackDown superstars are going to fight for the Raw Women's title. Ugh. I hate this freaking story. They really ruined this story for me. And that's not even the worst part. It gets so much worse. Oh my gosh, what is this? What am I watching? So after this freaking stupid segment, I got way too annoyed at this. So after this stupid segment, Heavy Machinery's music hits. They come out, and the commentary announces that they're going to have a gauntlet match with a lot of the tag teams. And I thought if Heavy Machinery don't win this gauntlet match, it's lights out for them. They're officially done on the main roster if they don't win this gauntlet match. And when I saw that Hawkins and Ryder were out there in this gauntlet match, I was really expecting them to fucking win, just to shit all over my whatever, my hopes for this show. But no. After the commercial break, it comes back and Dean Ambrose is backstage and he's he's backstage in what looks to be the basement of the arena, kind of like where the Shield used to hang out. And Roman comes out of nowhere and he comes up to Dean Ambrose and he says that I thought we were past all this. I mean, you know that there's a locker room we can talk in. And Ambrose just says to Roman, I gotta get ready for my match, and I don't give a shit what you're gonna say, and he just walks away. So the match, the gauntlet match it starts off with Heavy Machinery and the B team, Curtis Axel and Bo Dallas. So this match is happening, and Bo Dallas is actually trying to get the B team chant going. Like, come on, it's dead. Come on. I mean, I know that's your gimmick and everything, but it's dead. So, Heavy Machinery, of course, beat the B team with the compactor. They pinned Bo Dallas. So up next is the Ascension, and I was honestly expecting. Why wouldn't the Ascension be the last team in this match to fight Heavy Machinery? They're feuding with Ascension, so wouldn't it only make sense? I mean, I know I'm overthinking a fucking tag team jobber gauntlet match, but even still, you know. So I actually missed this because I had to go to, I didn't go to the bathroom. I had to go to the kitchen to grab like water or something. So I missed the finish of this particular match. But just reading it, apparently the finish was Otis pinned Victor of the Ascension with a Vader bomb. So last team was freaking Hawkins and Ryder. And I mean, again, when I saw them on my screen, I was expecting Hawkins and Ryder to swerve us and just pin Heavy Machinery. And Kurt Hawkins would get his first win in a long time. But no, it ended. Otis pinned Otis pinned Kurt Hawkins. He did the caterpillar, as they so call it, on commentary, not the worm, because the worm is Scotty 2 Hotty, apparently. It's no different, of course, but commentary's fucking laughing and shit, not putting them over at all. They just ran the gauntlet, pinned all these teams. And yeah, what else can you say? Even the commentary's given up at this point. I mean, they gave up a long time ago, so it's just a gauntlet match for the tag teams. At least Heavy Machinery won. At least they won. Up next, it was backstage. Up next, it went backstage. I'm already losing my place. I'm going crazy reading this. I just read what was up next. Actually, you know what? When I started this show, like tonight, I mean, this episode, I honestly forgot a lot of even what happened on this show. And when I started to remember, I started to like have a headache. But it's backstage, and these two goofballs from SNL are walking backstage, and he's talking about how big of a fan. Who is it? Colin Jost, the dipshit. Not the black guy was the fan. Michael Shea, that's his name. The black dude, Michael Shea, was a fan of wrestling. He actually knew and was respectful to people. And the other guy, though, this Colin Jost guy, was like an idiot. And he talks about, yeah, I'm a big fan. And he starts naming Coco Beware. I think he named Junkyard Dog. Freaking, who else did he name? I can't even remember who else he named. He named stars from like back in the day. And they run into EC3, and EC3 is looking into a mirror. He's washing a fucking mirror with like Windex or something. And he's just standing there. And then Titus O'Neil comes up, and Titus says he's a big fan, and I really want to get a picture. And except for Colin, though. He just wants to get a picture with Michael Shea, which was actually kind of funny, to be honest. He just needed somebody to hold his phone for him while he takes the picture. So he got a picture with Michael Shea. Titus goes off, and then No Way Jose and his conga line show up. They almost get into the conga line, but then Colin Jost, the white guy, tells him, no, we have to remain unbiased for WrestleMania. I'm like, why? They're not referees or anything. So, yes, rest in peace to EC3 on the main roster. He is officially dead as well. Lacey Evans is officially dead. EC3 is officially dead. Congratulations, guys. You not only have you managed to ruin all the other call-ups, but you also managed to ruin 2 more in one night. Or, of course, it happened over the course of weeks and months and stuff, but do they hate EC3 or Lacey Evans? Why? Why is this happening? In a jobber-filled filler nothing segment with goofballs from SNL. I can't even talk bad about the black guy from SNL. He was at least all right. He was cool because he's a fan. I can forgive that. But this Colin Jost guy was a goofball. And poor EC3 is just standing there like a fucking idiot, washing a mirror, just standing there in his gear, not wrestling. Excuse me. I took a sip of water. My throat's getting all sore from ranting about this horrible freaking show. So up next, they talk about Tori Wilson being inducted into the Hall of Fame, and they showed a nice video package going over some of the things she's done in the business. And I'll say this about Tori Wilson being inducted into the Hall of Fame. I read the same thing I read last year when Hillbilly Jim got inducted into the Hall of Fame. Why are they in the Hall of Fame? They didn't do anything. They never won titles. They never did blah, blah, blah. It's like, you're just honestly, how much of a smart do you have to be to think that you're not allowed you don't deserve to be in the WWE Hall of Fame because you weren't champion? That's stupid. That is completely dumb. When it comes to wrestling, it's entertainment. Like, we all know, I don't like the term sports entertainment because, like, it kind of delegitimizes the show. But at the end of the day, it's entertainment. You know? It's not in the traditional sense, quote unquote, real. I'm very careful with my wording because I have a rant to go on about this whole situation. But at the end of the day, it's entertainment, okay? You don't have any right to tell somebody whether they deserve to be in the Hall of Fame or not. Who cares? It's the Hall of Fame. It's a nice ceremony where people freaking are paid the respects they deserve for being in the company, and it's all about putting smiles on people's faces. This is what I said about Hillbilly Jim when people complained about him being inducted. It's like, fuck yourself, you know? These people, whether you loved them or hated them, literally went week after week after week on the road without their family, trying to, you know, whatever, entertain you. It's kind of cliche me saying this, but it's true. So you're always going to get that when you see these inductions. And yeah, congratulations to Tori Wilson being inducted, and cool beans. So after this, Charlotte is interviewed backstage, and she's talking about Becky Lynch. She says that Becky is stubborn with her pride and her huge Irish ego, and she thinks she's going to win the title this Sunday at Fastlane. Even at her best, she doesn't compare to me, the Queen. And she says she's sorry to everyone for ruining their high hopes for Becky, but she's on one leg, and she's a one-legged competitor in an ass-kicking contest, which is actually kind of a cool line. So she says that everyone's going to bask in her glory, which I thought, that's gimmick infringement from Keith Lee. So I wonder what he thought about that. And that was the end of that segment. Another backstage segment. Dean Ambrose is in another place, another part of the building. I don't know how they keep finding him, but Seth Rollins finds Ambrose. And he says, even through everything that we've been through and through everything that we both think, I still have respect for you, and blah, blah, blah. And whether we're on the same page or not, or we're wrestling in the ring, we're wrestling soulmates, and we always will be. They've got one chance to do this the right way. So, and then Dean says that he's not going to cave and bring the Shield back. He still doesn't want to be part of the Shield. And he says he appreciated the help last week when Roman and Seth made the save for him last week when he was getting ambushed by Elias and the Three Stooges. And but he says, I got to take care of myself. So he leaves again. And actually, he doesn't even leave. Seth leaves. He just kind of sits down on a crate and behind a curtain. So Elias is in the ring, goes to commercial. It gets back from commercial, and he's in the middle of singing and talking shit about Philly. And out comes Dean Ambrose, because Elias and Dean Ambrose have a match. And oh man, this fucking match too, man. Long story short, the finish of the match was Dean Ambrose went to the top rope. He jumped off. Elias caught him with a big knee, and then he hit Dean Ambrose with the drift away, the swinging neck breaker, the swinging fisherman neck breaker, I think. And he pins him 1, 2, 3, clean. Elias beats Dean Ambrose. And Elias leaves. Dean Ambrose is just in the ring, like pissed off that he lost. And then Roman and Seth's music hits, and it goes to commercial. That was an odd place to go to commercial. So comes back from commercial, and Rollins and Reigns make it to the ring. They ask him, "What are you gonna do, man? What's it gonna be? Are you gonna accept our offer to bring back the Shield?" And just Dean Ambrose is like, "No, I'm not having it. I don't want to." And Dean Ambrose leaves, and he makes his way through the crowd. How convenient! He doesn't go down the aisle. He just goes through the crowd. So he's in the crowd, and then Baron Corbin's music hits for the second time tonight. And I hate his music at this point, just because of what it means. So Baron Corbin, Lashley, and McIntyre come out, and Corbin says, I get that Philly is the city of brotherly love, but this is pathetic. And McIntyre says he calls them broken stray dogs fighting for the scraps at their table and demanding respect from the crowd. And yeah, I don't even know, man. I'm sick of this same promo over and over again. Pretty much, Drew says that he offers. I'm reading these notes pretty much verbatim, so that's why I misread all the time. I'm just reading them off of cageside.com, cageside seats. So, Drew McIntyre offers them the match: Corbin, Lashley, and McIntyre versus the Shield. Only really with just Roman and Seth, because Dean hasn't accepted the reunion, of course. So Drew says, you actually don't deserve the match, so we're just going to end this right now. And they go down the fucking ring to the ring, and they beat down on them and destroy them, and they just beat down on them, and it shows Ambrose in the crowd, conflicted, and he's like, oh, what do I do? And he's like moving all around the place, and he's like, oh, I don't know what to do. And he runs down through the crowd. Eventually, he caves in. He makes the save. He jumps over the barricade. He gets in the ring, makes the save, beats down on Corbin and Drew and Lashley, and they beat their asses. And Seth and Roman are in the ring, and they're all standing together. And Seth and Roman put their fists together and wait for Dean to put his fists in. And he's like, he still doesn't think he should, and he still doesn't want to. And he's like on the ropes, and he's reeling back and forth. And eventually he reels back and throws his fist in there. And now it's the Shield is back again. The Shield's back for the 15th time. And actually, you know what? I say it like that as if it's a bad thing. I really don't mind that the Shield is back. I saw people complaining that the Shield's got back together for like the 4th time now or whatever it is. But you know what? Who cares? You know, it's really not. That's not a big deal to me. It's not that bad. You know, who cares? It's just the Shield reunion. If Roman's wanting to do it one last time, then screw it. Let him. It's not a big deal. This is totally fine with me. So yes, the Shield are back, and they are they show recaps, then they go to commercial. After commercial, they announce that the Shield will wrestle against Corbin, McIntyre, and Bobby Lashley at Fastlane. And boy, I wonder who's going to win that. So out comes Sasha Banks. Sasha Banks is going to have a match with Tamina. I figured that Tamina would win this match because Bayley beat Nia Jax last week. Tamina did, in fact, win this match. She pinned Sasha with a super kick. And that was it. It really wasn't anything. It wasn't that big of a match. And yeah. Again, we get... This is where I started to lose my shit about this SNL BS. So Michael Shea, the black guy, and Colin Jost, the dumb, stupid white guy, are walking backstage. And the black guy, Michael Shea, goes, I need to use the bathroom. And Colin goes, do you need some help? And Michael goes, I just got to use the bathroom. What do you mean use help? He's like, he leaves him. He leaves the white guy. He leaves Colin by himself. And Colin says he's not scared of anybody in this place. Doesn't matter if I'm by myself. I'm not scared of anybody. And he runs into Braun Strowman. He bumps into Braun Strowman. And Braun Strowman takes his New York... I don't even know. Was it a New York Yankees hat? I don't fucking know. I don't know baseball logos or anything. So he takes off his New York hat that he's wearing in Philly. And after Braun takes off that hat, the crowd cheers. So, so Colin goes, just between you and me, is any of this stuff even real? And Braun lifts him up off his feet and starts choking him against the wall. And he goes, "What do you think?" So it reminded me of David Schultz. David Schultz, of course, was the guy who slapped. What was the guy's name? John Stossel. He was the guy who slapped John Stossel when John Stossel told David Schultz that he didn't think it was real. So David Schultz slapped him across the face like twice, actually, and really hurt him. And he's like, "Huh? Is that real? Is that real? Huh?" And it's one of the most famous moments ever. And so just to not conceptualize, just envision this, okay? He lifts this Colin Jost dude up off of his feet and starts choking him after he was asked if this was really real. Let me repeat that. This fucker asked Braun Strowman, "Is wrestling and all of this stuff even real?" So WWE is acknowledging that wrestling is not real. Or at the very least, they're acknowledging the question of, is this real? And I know the business has been dead forever. I know that Kayfabe has been dead since the 90s, but even still, I hate when WWE points out that what I'm watching is not actually real. It's dumb. Delegitimizes the show. I'm supposed to pretend to believe that the show is real. It's suspension of disbelief. I don't want anybody telling me what I'm watching is not real, whether it's true or not. I'm supposed to suspend my disbelief. So he's choking him against the wall, and he's making this dumb, derpy face where his tongue's sticking out, where he's like getting choked to death, you know? He's got like no air. So it just cuts away, and he just goes to commercial. It just goes to commercial. He's just getting choked to death. So it comes back from, this is where it gets stupid. I mean, it was stupid to begin with, but this is where it gets really dumb. It comes back from commercial, and Braun Strowman, 3 minutes long, by the way, like a 3 or 4 minute long commercial break. That's very important. So it gets back from a 3 or 4 minute long commercial break, and it shows Braun still choking this poor dude up against the wall, choking him for like 3 or 4 straight minutes. Now, I'm not a scientist, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a whatever you call it, but to me, if a dude was being choked by a dude who has like freaking huge hands, like by anyone, if you're being choked for 3, 4 straight minutes, wouldn't you at the very least be unconscious? No, he's not. So he's still choking this poor guy, and all the goofballs, like the security guards and the referees and whatever, and producers. The producers aren't goofballs. Those are actually, they're cool. But actually, you know what? The only goofball in this freaking thing is this Colin Jost guy. But anyways, they're trying to prevent Braun from choking this poor guy against the wall. And eventually Braun lets go. And Colin Jost, after being choked for 3 or 4 straight minutes, no-sells it. Are you kidding me? What the hell am I watching? He was choked for 3 to 4 minutes straight, and when he was let go, he no-sold it and said, "Hey, what was that all about, man?" What? This is where the show got retarded. This is where I turn on this show. And Braun Strowman says, "I will see you at WrestleMania." I swear that if this is a match at WrestleMania, I don't even know what to say anymore. He no-sold being choked for 4 straight minutes. That killed the show right there. That was one of the things that killed the show. I could look past Triple H referring to Ric Flair by his real name and talking about Ric Flair, the character. I can look past that. They've done that before, right? I can't look past this. The dude no-sold being choked, seemingly for minutes. And he taunts him after Braun walks away. And then Michael Shea comes out and he's like, "What did I miss?" or whatever. I don't fucking know. Just what am I watching? Why is this happening? Who came up with this? Why is the creative team so dumb? Why? I'm not claiming that I'm like any smarter or that like I'm a great mind for the business or anything, but come on! This seems like freaking WCW level shit. Well, okay, I guess I can't go that far, but it seems like TNA level stuff for sure. Holy crap! So then up next we got the WWE Raw Tag Team Championship match. The Revival, the defending champions, versus Aleister Black and Ricochet. And again, and this didn't help me with my anger after this horrible segment, this horrible SNL guy segment. The Revival are just in the ring, The champions in a title match. In the ring. They got a jobber entrance. They're about to defend the titles. First off, the WWE, a champion in WWE should not be getting a jobber entrance, whether it's a title match or not. They're the champions. I get it if you're low on time, but this show, as I'll explain later, was not low on time. So, they get a jobber entrance. They're just in the ring. First of all, no, I can't even say first of all because I just said that. Second of all, the champion's coming out first. Just screw tradition, right? So it's a championship match. The champions don't get an entrance. Got to be just kidding me. So Aleister and Ricochet come out. They actually have a pretty fun match for what it's worth, you know. Of course, all of these guys are great wrestlers. Aleister Black hits some great offense. He's hitting some flying knees, and Ricochet's hitting his high-flying moves. And somewhere during this match, Bobby Roode and Chad Gable come out, and they're outside the ring, and they're watching the match. And of course, they're the former Raw Tag Team Champions. And eventually, Aleister and Ricochet are pretty much about to win the titles. They're getting ready to win the titles, and Revival run in and attack the. Actually, they don't run in. They were thrown outside the ring, I believe. And Roode and Gable attack Revival, leading to the disqualification victory for the Revival. So the titles do not change hands. So the match pretty much it ends in a no contest, basically. And Aleister Black and Ricochet are like, "What the hell are you doing? What's your problem?" They get in the ring and they start brawling with each other. And Roode and Gable flee the ring. And it looks like Aleister and Ricochet are at the same time going to do dives out of the ring onto Roode and Gable, but instead they do their poses. Aleister hits his backflip into his butterfly, his cross-legged. What is that? That's called a butterfly, I believe, right? Hits his backflip into his little sit-down, and Ricochet hits his handspring backflip into his pose on his one knee. And they did it at the same time, though, and that looked badass. That was awesome, I thought. Like, that led for a great visual. And, yeah, that was that. And up next, Stephanie McMahon makes her entrance carrying the Raw Women's title, and she was, like, lifting up as if she was champion, and, you know, whatever. So, I'm still surprised that Stephanie has not rewarded herself the title to become champion, but you know, whatever. At this point, you might as well. So she gets on the microphone and she states that anything can happen on the road to WrestleMania, like the return of Roman Reigns and the reformation of the Shield, or Ronda Rousey vacating the Raw Women's title. So at this point, it's actually made official that Ronda vacated the title, and that's very important. I'm going to take a sip of water. Very important detail there. Stephanie announces that that Ronda vacated the title. So why is that important? Well, they show a recap again of Ronda laying down the belt, and she introduces Charlotte out to the ring. And then she introduces Becky Lynch out to the ring. She's still on that damn crutch. I don't know how hard it is to just have your main star of the company wrestle and book a match that everyone wants to see. Instead, you have to overcomplicate things with an injury angle and then a suspension angle. But then she's not suspended. So Becky comes out to sign this hold harmless agreement that she should have just been proposed in the first place when this whole shit hit the fan. So Stephanie says, we need a champion. So at Fastlane, Charlotte and Becky are going to fight for the title. But Becky needs to sign this hold harmless agreement first. And Becky is handed the hold harmless agreement contract, I guess. And she opens it up and she's getting ready to sign it. And Charlotte's like telling her to sign it. And like, I don't even know why she was getting ready to sign it. Why was she like taunting her? And Becky goes, to Charlotte, I mean. Becky says to Charlotte, I beat her on one good leg at the Royal Rumble. If I want to, I'll beat her on one leg tonight. And Stephanie says that we've got a lot of stuff to get in line first. She needs to sign this now and wait until Fastlane this Sunday. Becky signs the agreement. Very important detail that they didn't even really point out. They should have pointed this out for attention to detail. So Becky signed the agreement, so then Stephanie announces that the match is official. Becky versus Charlotte this Sunday for the Raw Women's title. For the title. But then, all of a sudden, the camera cuts to backstage with Ronda Rousey fast walking down the hallway, and she's looking mad. She's looking pissed. And goes to commercial. What a stupid commercial break. Like, I joked on Twitter during this. Can you imagine if Vince McMahon announced or revealed that he was the higher power after all, and he goes, "It's me, Austin. It's me, Austin. It was me all along, Austin." And then immediately cuts to break right after that. Like, right after that. And I just, what a stupid cut to break. Like, why couldn't we just have Ronda come out? Whatever. There's like 15 minutes left at this point. Who gives a shit? So, Ronda Rousey comes back from commercial. Ronda Rousey's music hits. She storms to the ring, as these summary says, and she asks Stephanie, "What are you doing?" And Stephanie says, "You left me no choice. You laid down the title." And Ronda actually says, "No shit. I didn't vacate the title. I just was giving them a week to do the right thing. I was giving you a week to do the right thing. And I don't like what you came up with, and I want my title back." She says, "I wanted you to include Becky Lynch, not exclude me." So she vacates the title as like an act of rebellion, and then she gets pissed when she finds out that she vacated the title. So Ronda looked like an idiot here, in my opinion. Nobody's talking about that. Ronda looked like an idiot. Vacating the title, but then complaining like, "Wait, I didn't actually vacate the title." It's like, well, you kind of did, didn't you? You laid it down, and then walked out, right? Like when Dolph Ziggler laid down the U.S. title in 2017, he vacated it. He didn't just come back and be like, "Oh, wait, I didn't actually vacate it." So that's stupid thing number one in this segment. I hated this segment. Everybody loved this segment. Yeah, there's only one good thing in this segment. We'll get to it. So Ronda demands that Stephanie gives her the Raw Women's title back. And Stephanie McMahon, of all people, just hands her the belt. Just hands it back to her. So Ronda's the champion again. So does that technically mean that Ronda's a 2-time Raw Women's champion? They didn't point that out at all. But anyways, Stephanie, of all people, just gives her the title back. So Stephanie says, "All right, well, you're still champion, but I still have business to do." So at Fastlane, it still will be Becky Lynch versus Charlotte Flair. If Becky loses, she's done. She's just done. I don't know what that means. Like, she's done in the company, she gets fired, she's suspended again. Obviously, she means that if Becky Lynch loses, she's out of any contention for the WrestleMania match for the Raw Women's title. So if Becky loses, she's out. But if she beats Charlotte, she's added to the WrestleMania Raw Women's title match in a triple threat match. So winning the Royal Rumble means nothing now. She has to now win a number one contender, not even a number one contenders match. She has to win in order to freaking get her match. Like, somebody pointed out that when everybody's been saying winning the Royal Rumble means nothing now because Becky just has to win again to get her match. So somebody actually made a really good point that when you're suspended, you lose all your privileges. You lose everything. You know, you lose your current title matches. You lose your rights. You know, in wrestling and everything. And you know what? That actually makes sense. That makes complete sense. And I'm not even being sarcastic. That does make sense. However, they did not explain that. They did not explain once that when Becky was suspended, she gave up her right to challenge Ronda for the title at WrestleMania. They did not say that one time. So that point is moot, as far as I'm concerned. So winning the Royal Rumble means nothing now. If they had just pointed out that when you get suspended, you lose all your rights, okay, fine. At least it would still suck. So it would still show that winning the Rumble means nothing and that the Rumble match meant nothing. But hey, at least it makes sense. They didn't even point that out. So this segment sucks. And, yeah, she announces that if Becky wins, she's added to the match. If she doesn't, she's just done. So, this is where Ronda goes off. This was the one good thing of the whole segment. This was the one good thing. Ronda says that, I make too much money for you guys to get fired, for you to fire me, and you know it. I can go rogue whatever I want because Stephanie, you value your bank account more than Charlotte and Becky's fragile bodies. Which sounds like it's like a mix between heel and face right there, but hey, whatever. So Ronda says, I did everything I could to respect this business. I poured my heart out, and what did I get? Boos for me and chants for Becky. But you know what? I'm done pretending. I'm not here to entertain any of you. She's talking to the fans. I'm not here to entertain any of you. I'm not your dancing monkey. And no, she goes, damn the man, screw the woo, and no more Mrs. Nice Bitch. That's what she says. So then, right after she says that, she attacks both Charlotte and Becky, but she really lays into Becky. So she's destroying poor Becky Lynch here. One good leg, she's destroying Becky Lynch, punching her in the stomach for real. She puts the armbar on her a lot of times. And Charlotte's smart enough to just watch this happen because Charlotte faces Becky this Sunday. So, and the point they didn't even really hit home is that the reason Becky kind of screwed herself because she signed this hold harmless agreement. So Ronda just has free reign to do anything to her, really, besides murder her, So, yeah, Ronda completely annihilates Becky. Ronda's being booed. Ronda has officially turned heel. And, it goes backstage, and there was 3 minutes left in this show. 3 minutes left after this segment. This should have been the end of the show. But of course, they had 3 minutes left, so we could have had a revival entrance after all. It was a title match after all. So, Stephanie McMahon is backstage, and she says that she's asked by Charlie Caruso, do you think that you did Ronda a favor tonight by what you did? And by making Becky sign the hold harmless agreement. And Stephanie goes, I scoff at the idea that what I did for Ronda was a favor, and what just happened out there was ridiculous, and Rousey showed her true colors and proved me right all along. And she goes, who does Ronda think she is? I can't wait to see how this all shakes out at WrestleMania, and I believe that Ronda has what's coming to her. And Stephanie, I actually watched a video of this. Stephanie is kind of laughing during all this. I mean, it doesn't show her. I mean, it kind of shows her smirk. She's you can hear a laugh when it cuts away from her, but she's still talking. And then it's all capped off with a person yelling at Ronda. She's over in the corner, standing up on the second turnbuckle, and somebody yells at her. They yell, lift the title up, Ronda. So like a producer's telling her to lift the title up and raise it up. What a fucking stupid show. I can't believe people like this. why am I always in the minority when it comes to this? This was the most hyped up and talked about and popular match and storyline in all of WWE. All they had to do was book a big match and make it a big match feel, but they had to complicate it. And it gets worse with Ronda on freaking social media. So yeah, that's the end to Raw, but I'm not done talking about Ronda. I'm going to wait until I get to SmackDown, because Ronda, she went on this huge, she cut like a big promo, although she wouldn't say that during this, on YouTube, I believe, and she went full fucking batshit crazy mode. And this is where I started to turn on this. I know it, and well, I'll just get into it. Just in a nutshell, I'm not going to read off this whole thing, but just the highlights, the main points that everybody's going crazy about right now on social media. Ronda says, and I quote, "Fuck them. Everybody, the WWE universe included. Wrestling is scripted. It's made up. It's not real. None of those bitches can fucking touch me. The end." So what Ronda is saying right now is that what I'm watching when I watch Raw, when I watch 3 hours of Raw, and when I watch 2 hours of SmackDown, when I watch wrestling every single week, it's not really real. But this match, this is real. Ronda and Charlotte and Becky, this storyline's real. Oh, everything else is fake, but this is real. And I get that this is a work. Ronda's not actually going rogue and exposing the business. The business has been exposed forever, for one thing. But anyways, if she was actually going rogue, she would be punished for it. She's being told to say this. This is a work. This is a worked shoot. That being said, this is so stupid. Why would you tell the people that what you're watching is fake? Why? It doesn't matter if it's fake or not. You don't tell everybody that what you're watching is not real. Everything else that I'm watching on the show is real. Why should I care about Fastlane? Every match is fake. You know, why should I even watch? Who cares? It's not real, you know? Like, what? Why? Why are we doing this? This is WCW level stuff. Talking about how it's all fake and it's not actually real. This has been one of the most overbooked and overcomplicated and convoluted storylines in history. And I'm not exaggerating. All they had to do was just play to the reactions and book a big match, and everybody was already excited to see it. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. So yes, they are telling everybody that what we're watching is fake, and I officially could not give one less of a shit about this storyline. I'm sorry. They ruined this storyline for me. I don't care if it main events anymore. I'm serious. I really don't care if it main events Mania anymore. I don't. I don't care about this match. I'm over this match. They've made me apathetic. They haven't even made me apathetic. I can't even say that, because I'm obviously talking a lot about it. I don't care about this match anymore. It's stupid. They jumped the shark. You don't ever tell people that what you're watching is fake, because then why would anybody watch? Why would anybody watch after that? And people actually like this. People actually think this is a good idea. You know? Even if it's a work, people are like, wow, people are getting so worked. This is exactly what it's supposed to be doing. They're getting so worked over this. It's like, no shit, it's a work. That's not the question. The question is whether it should be a good idea to tell everybody that what you're watching is fake. So of course that prompted Charlotte on Twitter to talk about the last 2 fights you had in UFC. You were sobbing and you got destroyed. Don't talk to me about how this is fake. And Liv Morgan of the Riot Squad said, "My body is sore all the time. This is not fake at all." And Rusev also said that Ronda's character is not really a badass. So he's outright breaking kayfabe now. Everybody's breaking kayfabe. Why the hell would I watch this show now? I can't. When you tell the people, I don't know. I'm not gonna say it again. Let's just get on to fucking SmackDown. Raw sucked, everyone. That's my opinion. I run polls every week, and granted, my polls are not voted on very much because I'm a small account, of course, on Twitter. But I ran a poll saying, asking, what did everybody think of Raw? And the majority of people thought it was a thumbs up. Granted, there wasn't many votes, but even still, I can't believe that people thought this Raw was good. This was so annoying to watch for a number of reasons. This Raw sucked, in my opinion. Wasn't as good as last week, that's for sure. So, we got SmackDown now. Finally, thank God we got SmackDown to finally to get this to wrap this thing up. Because I'm sweating right now. Oh man. So, the show opens, and it shows the rest in peace vignette to King Kong Bundy. He died at 61, like I mentioned earlier. And then the show starts with Daniel Bryan and Rowan making their entrance, and they show up in the ring, and it shows a recap of what happened last week, with Kofi being replaced by Kevin Owens in the title match this Sunday at Fastlane. And Daniel says that last week I was silent while everyone gushed over Kofi Kingston. And then when Vince McMahon replaced him, it is now my turn to speak and your turn to be quiet. So tells the crowd to shut up, of course, and the crowd will not shut up. Rowan's telling everybody to shut up, and Bryan's about to grace everybody's ears or whatever, so that he can enlighten us. So Daniel says that I'm not out here to talk about Kofi Kingston, and why would I? Why would I? He's not a leader. He's not a supporting player, which is why he's exactly where he should be, with his buddies, the New Day, on a promotional tour of India. And so yeah, Kofi and the New Day were not there, and Daniel says Mr. M was right to replace Kofi, but I don't agree with replacing him. He said specifically, Mr. McMahon was correct to replace Kofi in this match, to replace him, replace a guy that throws pancakes all over the place. But I don't agree with replacing him with a man who eats copious amounts of pancakes, talking about Kevin Owens. So Daniel says, I get why all of you love Kevin Owens, because he's just like all of you. He looks like you. He's a nobody. But that's what makes him dangerous, because a nobody has nothing to lose. And Bryan goes along these lines, and Bryan says, I have everything to lose, however. I'm the planet's champion, and I know that if I lose, the entire planet loses. I don't want to be called a martyr, but the weight of... And then he gets cut off, and Kevin Owens' music hits, and he says that Kevin Owens comes out and he says that when I got injured 5 months ago, I stepped away from being a wrestler and was just a member of the universe, the WWE universe. And I sat back at home with my family and watched every show from my couch. And Kevin says that as great as my time off was, it was really great, but it was hard to sit back and watch other people do what I love to do. Except for when you were out here, Daniel. It was just awful watching you walk around like a maniac, talk down to everybody like you're high and mighty above everyone. And if there's something I can't stand, it's people who think they're better than everyone else. So Kevin Owens is babyface now, I suppose, and that's cool with me. And then it got worse when you threw the WWE Championship in the trash, and that was the last straw. That's when I knew I wanted to come back to SmackDown and come after your title. And he speaks on behalf of the WWE Universe and saying that Bryan deserves to get his stupid, condescending mouth shut, and that he's the one, I should say, that's going to do it. And Kevin gets in the ring, and he squares up, doesn't square up, he steps up to Rowan and Daniel, and Rowan blocks him off, and Kevin goes, "Do we have a problem, Redwood?" Which was actually funny. So, he goes, I don't know why that caught me so. I don't even know what that's a reference to. It's just funny. I don't know. So Kevin Owens attacks Eric Rowan, but then eventually Rowan and Daniel beat down on poor Kevin 2-on-1. I don't know. I was kind of expecting somebody to make the save, but as we'll see, somebody does make the save later because they announced that Kevin Owens versus Eric Rowan is going to be the main event. So yeah, that's that. And they come back from commercial, and the Usos are coming out, cutting a promo saying it's just ridiculous that Shane McMahon and the Miz think that they deserve another chance at the tag titles, and at Fastlane they're going to Miz and Shane, I should say. The Usos say that Miz and Shane are going to step in the ring with a true tag team, and we're going to admit you to the Uso Penitentiary. Their basic promo. And Miz and Shane come out, and Miz and Shane are Miz is going to have a match with Jey Uso, and the match's finish actually was interference from the Usos, or trying to interfere, I should say. Jimmy Uso tries to interfere with the Miz, and Shane comes out of nowhere and hits a clothesline off the steel steps, and because of this, Jey is distracted, and Miz comes from behind, hits the skull-crushing finale, pins Jey Uso 1, 2, 3, and that's it's looking, I don't know. I'm thinking Usos probably retain. I really don't think Miz and Shane win the tag titles. I hope they don't, at least. So yeah, that's that match. And after that, it goes backstage to another Charlotte Flair interview, and she keeps talking about Becky and not Ronda. And listen, I know she's in a match with Becky this Sunday, but even before that, all that Charlotte and Ronda would talk about was Becky, which prompted Becky to say, Ronda, meet Charlotte. Charlotte, meet Ronda. Just thought I needed to introduce you two again to each other since you have a match at WrestleMania, but yet you still talk about me. That's what she said. So yeah, it makes sense for her to say that. So Charlotte invites Becky to the ring later tonight. She invites, well, first off, why does Charlotte need to invite Becky to the ring? Why is she inviting her to SmackDown? She's already on SmackDown. She's already on SmackDown. So that's all she pretty much says. I didn't really pay attention to the promo. She invited Becky for a friendly discussion later on. So, you know, zippity-doo-dah, right? And up next, we have one of my favorites, R-Truth. I love R-Truth. R-Truth makes me appreciate this this show more, when it just makes me more sane. R-Truth of all people makes me more sane. So he's announced, and of course this is coming off the announcement that R-Truth would do another U.S. Open challenge for the title, U.S. title Open challenge, and he goes, I want to be just like my childhood hero, John Cena. But I didn't realize that John Cena gave the Open Challenge every single week. And I'm tired just after doing it once. And Carmella says that, like Cena says, never give up. And R-Truth goes, yeah, but John Cena also said, you can't see me, but I see him all the time. On the poster in my bedroom, on my bed sheets, even in a movie about a car that was also an alien robot. He showed up there too. So R-Truth is a gift, and if we should get R-Truth versus John Cena. That'd be cool. That ain't gonna happen now, obviously, because this match is about to happen. But Carmella tells Truth that he has to be brave right after this 7-second dance break. They do the dance break. Truth opens officially the Open Challenge, and this was actually at least somewhat comical. He says he opens the challenge, and then Lacey Evans' music hits. And at least that was kind of creatively done, right? Like, as if she's going to accept the challenge, but no. So, yeah, it goes... Samoa Joe comes out. I'm so all over the place right now. It doesn't help that I'm sweating my ass off right now. And Samoa Joe comes out to accept the challenge, and I thought, oh, Samoa Joe's going to lose. And so Samoa Joe comes out, he comes into the ring, but then Rey Mysterio's music hits. So it's just like last week where people kept coming out one after the other. So Rey Mysterio's music hits. He runs into the ring. And then Andrade Cien Almas' music hits. He comes out. And R-Truth doesn't even get to say anything. The referee and the ring announcer just say the following is a fatal four-way match for the U.S. title. So it's a fatal four-way U.S. title match between R-Truth, the champion, Andrade Cien Almas, Rey Mysterio, and Samoa Joe. And this was a fun match, too. This was a fun match, I thought. And there was one point that I actually forgot. I actually forgot in this segment. There was one point where R-Truth goes at the top of his lungs, "Damn you, John Cena!" because he's got to defend again. That was funny. So, Samoa Joe hits a big suicide dive onto Andrade Cien Almas, hits him into the table. Andrade hits the Viva La Raza pose. Andrade hits his signature double moonsault. Not even a double. He tries to go for a moonsault, and then he lands on his feet, and his opponent rolls. You know the move I'm talking about. Hits that move. Samoa Joe throws him off and tries to pin Rey, but it's a failed pin. This was a cool spot. Samoa Joe has got R-Truth in the Coquina clutch, but he's over by the ropes. So out of nowhere, the production of this camera work was done great too. So out of nowhere, Rey comes in and hits the 619 onto Joe because they're facing the ropes. So that hits Joe off of the Coquina clutch. R-Truth rolls up Rey Mysterio after that, and I was expecting that to be the finish just like last week, and it wasn't. And excuse me, I lost my place. So yeah, the match keeps going. R-Truth is out on the apron. Or not on the apron. Zelina Vega is out on the apron. R-Truth's out on the floor. Zelina Vega hits a big Hurricane Rana onto R-Truth into the barricade outside the ring. Carmella hits a super kick on Zelina. But then back into the ring. Back into the ring, Andrade has got Rey going for a pile driver, right? But eventually, Rey counters it into a Canadian Destroyer. And I still can't get over the fact that they're actually doing that move in WWE. So Rey counters with a Canadian Destroyer, and that gets a near fall. He hits a 619 onto Andrade. He goes for the frog splash. He hits the frog splash. Rey pins him 1, 2, and then Joe hits a senton onto Rey to break up the counter or the pinfall. Rey picks up. He throws Rey out of the ring, and then he goes over and picks up Andrade, hits a huge Uranagi onto Andrade, and then pins Andrade Cien Almas to become the new United States champion. Samoa Joe has finally won a piece of gold. He's finally won a title. It's been 2 years since he's been on the main roster, and he finally won something. So God bless Samoa Joe. That was a really fun match. And after that, they show New Day in India announcing that they will be at Fastlane. And Aleister Black makes his entrance, and it goes to commercial break. They announce that it's going to be Aleister and Ricochet versus The Bar in a tag team match. And then after commercial, it shows Samoa Joe backstage, and he says that all the folks who thought I couldn't win the big one were just praying unanswered prayers. And now that I have the gold, I won't pander to the masses. And I sure as hell don't love John Cena. No. No hustle, loyalty, and respect. I will, all my opponents get is disrespect. And all the superstars lying awake at night having nightmares about wrestling me, I'll be along soon enough to make them go night-night. So, Samoa Joe's the champ. Cut a good promo there. And in the ring, it's the Bar, and Ricochet comes out, and oh man, I'm seriously hot. I gotta get through this show. So, match just ended with a. I'm not even gonna go in depth into this match. It was a fine match. Finish was Ricochet hitting the big 630 senton onto Cesaro, which always looks great. And after the match, Rusev and Nakamura come out of nowhere and attack Ricochet and Aleister Black, and they're destroying him in the corner. And then the Bar come in and join them and beating them down. Then the Hardys' music hit, and they make the save. So it's the Hardy Bros coming in. They hit the Twist of Fate on the Rusev. They're outside, and Jeff steps off of Matt outside the ring, or onto outside the ring to do his big splash into the crowd of people. But then Cesaro and Sheamus and everybody catch him. But then, before they can slam him, seemingly, Ricochet does a big tope over the top rope onto all of them. So the faces stand tall on this, and it was fun seeing. I still love seeing Matt back. It's after such a long time, and I don't know what this sets up. Obviously, Ricochet and Aleister Black have a Raw Tag Team title match this Sunday, so we'll see where this leads with everyone else. Rusev and Nakamura, it was announced, are facing the New Day in a tag team match on the kickoff show. And also, they announced for the kickoff show Rey Mysterio versus Andrade Cien Almas. Now, that match is good enough to be on the main show. Baron Corbin can just get to keep being on the main card in prominent matches, but Rey Mysterio and Andrade Cien Almas is good enough to be on the main card for WrestleMania. It's on a kickoff. Now, my knee-jerk reaction was, I can't believe this is on the kickoff. This is ridiculous. Like, what a joke. But in all fairness, they don't even have a story. I mean, they kind of have a story together. It's not like they don't have any story together, because they've been feuding, but they haven't really furthered their story as much, except for the fact that they're just keep letting us know that they are feuding. So it's you know, I can look past that. I'll still watch the match, of course. It's not a huge deal, I guess, that they're on the pre-show, so whatever. Maybe it'll make more people watch the pre-show. So up next, it's Mandy Rose versus Naomi. We're kickstarting that feud again, and not feud, putting that match back in. This match was as short as just shorter than me talking about it. Mandy Rose literally just dominated Naomi. She just squashed poor Naomi, and Mandy hit the angel's wings onto Naomi, pinning Naomi, and yeah, that was the match. They go down the aisle. Sonya and Mandy go down the aisle, and they're accelerating and taunting, and as they have their backs towards the entranceway, and in the camera shot, Asuka's behind them with her mask on, and Asuka, of course, is feuding with Mandy, and they both turn around, and Asuka lays both of them out. And is that an omen for things to come? Is Mandy going to win the title this Sunday? I sure hope not. That would be so stupid. That would be so dumb. So yeah, that was that. And there was a big an injury scare for Asuka at a house show, because on, I want to say it was, oh yeah, it was during Raw. That's right, it was during Raw. On Raw, they had a house show for SmackDown, and it was Mandy Rose versus Asuka, and Mandy was not going for a finish. It was a facebuster, but it wasn't her finisher. She went for this facebuster, and right as Mandy dropped, Asuka tucked her head and like landed really hard on her head and neck, and the match was stopped after that. They threw up the big X, and she walked out holding her head and neck, and it just seemed like a freak accident. People were blaming Mandy. Oh, Mandy's so bad. But from what I read from the dude in attendance that was posting about it, it was just a freak accident, and it was nobody's fault. It was just a miscommunication. And Asuka said on Twitter that I'm not injured. I'm totally fine. Don't fret. Thank you for all your support. Blah blah blah. So that's good to hear that Asuka's fine. And She doesn't have a concussion or a neck injury, so. After that, it's AJ Styles backstage, and he's being interviewed about Daniel Bryan and Kevin Owens, and he says that AJ goes, WWE Championship opportunities don't just grow on trees, except if your name is Charlotte Flair, of course. He didn't say that, I said that. So you take them where you get them. But what happened with Kofi Kingston was a mistake. Kevin Owens is in a lose-lose situation, and Kofi was straight up robbed. And the McMahons aren't listening to the WWE universe like they said they would. This is Kofi's moment. And you know what? They actually mentioned, AJ actually brought up that they're not listening to the fans like they said they would. At least, I mean, they're pointing out their own stupidity, but at the very least, they're acknowledging it. So, I don't fucking know. I'm overthinking this. So, Randy Orton comes up and he says, "Are you seriously talking about how someone other than you deserves a title opportunity? I see why it took you 15 years to get here." And then he walks away, and that was a burn. What a burn. So up next, it's Kevin Owens versus Eric Rowan, and they come out and they have this match, and it was really short actually because Kevin and Rowan are going at it, but then Daniel and Rowan, this is so confusing to me, I don't even know why. Daniel and Rowan are attacking Owens, so it's a disqualification, so Kevin wins, so they're double teaming him. So Rowan clears the table, and he's about to, looks like he's going to slam Kevin through the table with his claw slam, but then Mustafa Ali's music hits, and I lit up because I love Mustafa Ali, of course. He's one of my favorites, and Mustafa, of course, in Kayfabe, Mustafa was injured by Rowan, so that's why he was injured for like a month, but in real life, he was injured at a house show. He got a concussion, and in Kayfabe, at least they're paying that forward, or continuity, right? I love continuity. So Mustafa makes the save. He jumps off the announce table onto Rowan, hits a Hurricane Rana, throws Rowan into the post with that Hurricane Rana, goes into the ring. Daniel Bryan lays out Mustafa, and right as he's about to kick his fucking head in, Kevin hits the stunner onto Daniel Bryan, making the save. And Daniel Soul looked great. Yeah, Mustafa and Kevin stand tall on the Go Home show. I'm wondering what this means. Since it was Mustafa, I'm wondering if they're going to throw him in the mix sometime, the title mix. And I don't know. I'm very excited. And this is the main event segment where Charlotte comes out to invite Becky Lynch to just have a friendly discussion. You know, no big deal, just a friendly discussion. And Charlotte comes out. She tells her to get her ass out of here. And Becky Lynch's music hits. She comes out. She's still on that crutch. She gets in the ring. She said that it's good to be back, and the crowd's chanting Becky, and the crowd chanting Becky. Becky goes, "This is the sound you're going to hear when the man comes around." And she said she wouldn't be lying. She said she would be lying if she said she wasn't hurting, but that's okay if it's the price to pay to stay inside Charlotte's head. And she says that I'm in your head, Charlotte. I'm in Ronnie's weird little head, too. Ronnie can't make up her mind, wanting the match 1 minute and doing her best to avoid it the next. Last night, she destroyed me with her best, but I'm still standing and I'm ready to fight again. And Charlotte, and Becky says, "And you know that I've owned you for months and I beat you on one good leg. So yeah, my ribs might be bruised and my arm might have nearly been broken and my knees damaged. Damaged people are the most dangerous." But then out of nowhere, Ronda kicks out her crutch, Becky's crutch, I mean, Ronda. Charlotte kicks Becky's crutch out away from her, and then she slaps her in the face and kicks her in the injured leg and beats down on her leg and hurting her. And eventually, Becky counters and gets the upper hand, and she gets Charlotte in the disarm her, and Becky stands tall on the Go Home show. I hope this doesn't mean that Becky's going to lose this Sunday, because then how are you going to get her in the match? You know? I mean, I guess there's many ways you can do it, but Becky needs to win here. Becky needs to win this match this Sunday, and then she needs to win at Mania. so that at least this whole story can have a happy ending after this debacle of a story. So, yeah, that's the show. That's the two shows. Becky stands tall over Charlotte. SmackDown easily beats Raw this week in terms of quality and how good it was. And in other news, and I'll run down the card and give my predictions for Fastlane in a second. But in other news, WrestleMania 36 is announced to be in Tampa, Florida next year. So that's I guess that's cool. Tommaso Ciampa had to undergo neck surgery, so he's going to be out for approximately 12 to 14 months, which sucks. Tommaso's one of my favorites, and you never want to see a guy get hurt anyways. And that feud in NXT between Johnny Gargano and Tommaso is never gonna end, man. As hard as they try to try and get it to end and wrap it up, it just never happens, you know. So that sucks. He had a successful surgery, and in other news, WWE announced that Dick the Destroyer Beyer passed away. He was a masked wrestler, and he died at the age of 88. So condolences to him and his family. And WWE also announced that there will be the first ever watch-along for Fastlane this Sunday, with The New Day, Alexa Bliss, Mustafa Ali, and Pat McAfee being the host. So I wonder how that's going to work out. And yeah, that's that. And for those shows, and as for the Fastlane predictions, I will give my predictions very quickly since my throat hurts and I have to take a shower. So, first up on the kickoff, it's New Day, Big E and Xavier Woods versus Rusev and Shinsuke Nakamura. I mean, God forbid we have the club wrestle anything, right? Instead, we got to do a stupid, random, thrown together tag team between Nakamura and Rusev. And I'm not even, I don't know. I don't dislike Rusev and Nakamura. I'm not complaining because I dislike them or anything. I'm just saying, like, why do we just throw together random tag teams? Just doesn't make sense to me. So, anyways, at least they're getting time on the show. I think New Day are probably going to win that match. I could be wrong, but wouldn't it be? Shouldn't that match be the Hardys versus Rusev and Nakamura? Shouldn't that be that match? I don't know. Whatever. So I think New Day are probably going to win that match. It doesn't matter. It's a kickoff show. And up next is Rey Mysterio versus Andrade Cien Almas on the kickoff show. That's a tough one. I don't know who's going to win that. I'm inclined to think that Rey Mysterio is going to win. I think they want to have Rey win that one because I think Andrade won the last one, didn't he? The last one ended in a no contest because of Samoa Joe interrupting. That I remember, but I think the one before that, though, I think they had Andrade win. So I think they're gonna have Rey. I think they're gonna have Rey win this one. So up next is the Raw Tag Team Championship, the Revival versus Aleister Black and Ricochet versus Bobby Roode and Chad Gable in a triple threat. I honestly think Revival are gonna retain. I don't see Aleister and Ricochet winning the tag titles. Like, they're not even a tag team. I think they're just using them so much as a tag team because they're in the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic. Well, who knows? Maybe Aleister and Ricochet are gonna win the tag titles in NXT, and they're gonna win the Raw Tag Team titles, so they will be double champions. Who knows? Maybe. But as a more definitive, without just theory crafting storylines and fantasy booking, I think the Revival are gonna retain. I could be wrong because it's the Revival. You know what I mean? You never know. So. Next is Women's Tag Team Championship match. Sasha and Bayley versus Nia Jax and Tamina. I think Sasha and Bayley easily retain. I don't think there's any scenario where Nia and Tamina win. I wholeheartedly believe that. I don't think it's going to happen. Nia Jax and Tamina will not win this match. I hope I didn't jinx it. Yes, Sasha and Bayley will retain. SmackDown Tag Team Championship, the Usos versus The Miz and Shane McMahon. Again, I think the Usos are going to retain. Usos easily going to retain, and not easily, I should say, but I don't see The Miz and Shane going into WrestleMania as the tag team champions. I just can't bring myself to believe that. Braun Strowman and Nicholas, a 10-year-old, won the tag title, so I guess anything could happen in WrestleMania. So I still see Usos retaining. Up next is the SmackDown Women's Championship match between Asuka, champion, and Mandy Rose. Again, I'm inclined to believe that Asuka's going to win, but I could easily see them swerving us and having Mandy win the title going into WrestleMania as the champion, just to swerve us and rustle some feathers. I'm inclined to believe that Asuka is going to retain. I don't know. That's actually a tough one in my opinion. But I don't know. I'm thinking Asuka's going to retain. That's my prediction. After that, The Shield versus Drew McIntyre, Baron Corbin, and Bobby Lashley. This is the easiest prediction of the night. There's no chance in hell Roman's going to lose his return match. You know? He's not going to lose his return match, even if it's in a tag team match, you know? Especially not against Corbin, Lashley, and McIntyre's passable because McIntyre's great and everything. You wouldn't know from the way they book him because they book him with stooges like Corbin. But even still, Roman and Dean and Seth are easily going to win this match. Becky Lynch versus Charlotte Flair. If Becky wins, she's added to the WrestleMania Raw Women's title match. If she doesn't, she's just done for good. I think Becky wins this match. I could see them having Charlotte win, and having Becky enter the Mania match in a different way. But I think Becky's probably going to win. I don't see them. I mean, I guess they could have Charlotte win and having Becky. But yeah, but they don't want to have Becky lose this close to Mania. She's going to be in the Mania match. I mean, they can have Charlotte lose because everybody's kind of just expecting Becky to win the title at Mania, which she should. If that's too predictable, then whatever, but that's what should happen. I think Becky's going to win this match. And up next is, lastly, I should say, actually, I don't know what match is going to main event, but up next is Daniel Bryan versus Kevin Owens for the WWE Championship. And I kind of got a weird prediction for this one. I think this match is going to end in a no contest with Kofi interfering. I think they're going to set up Kofi versus Daniel at WrestleMania. I don't think this match is going to have a clear-cut winner. I don't know how they do that. I wonder if that's going to happen, though. Kevin's probably going to be in a triple threat at Mania, right? With Kofi and Daniel. So, it's an interesting one. Do they want to have 2 triple threat matches at WrestleMania for a title? I don't know. It's something to think about. I think if I have to pick a winner and none of this no contest stuff and no DQ and whatnot, if I have to pick a winner, I'm thinking Daniel Bryan retains. I'm thinking they're going to have Kevin lose, which kind of sucks because, you know, he just returned. And yeah, it is what it is. So I think Daniel retains and then Kofi is at Mania for the title. So yeah, that's that. That's my review of this week. I gotta get off. My throat is killing me. Doing these solo shows seriously hurts my my throat. Yeah, that's that. SmackDown was better than Raw. Fastlane this Sunday. I'm excited to see what happens. I'm excited to see if we get worked and swerved and all this Ronda BS. So yeah, that's that. And we'll be back out. Well, I don't know if Eric will be back next week. I know I will. I'll do the show without him. The show must go on, as they say, right? So I will definitely be back next week with the review next weekend. So yeah, thank you for watching and goodbye.